भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। So, in the last two verses, whatever we have seen as nature of Atma, now the next verse is further clarifying it in case one has not understood accurately what this nature of Atma, which is awareness, is. What did we see? Atma is Sat, which is existent, Chit, which is awareness, and that awareness, what did we say, is limitless. Right? It not only it pervades everything, but whatever it pervades, right? All the objects that it pervades are what? They are nitya. They have a dependent reality on that awareness. Okay? So that's what we saw. So now let's see a little bit more about the nature of that awareness, and after that the whole topic changes to this very famous what we call Karma Yoga. Okay? But this is the last verse that we have selected, which is now still dwelling on nature of this Atma. Okay? Avyakyo yamachintyo yam Avyakyo yamachintyo yam Avikaryo yamuchyate Avikaryo yamuchyate Tasmat evam viditvainam Tasmadevam viditvainam Nanushochitumarhasi Nanushochitumarhasi. Okay. He's further describing Atma as Avyaktaha, Achintyaha and Avikaryaha. Okay. Let's look at each of these words and let's say what it means. Avyakta, literally it means something which is unmanifest, but actually if you look at Adi Shankaracharya Bhashya, Atma can it be unmanifest? It's always with you, right? So what it then says is that everything else in this universe is changing. What does it mean it is changing? It is becoming from manifest to unmanifest. Everything. You start with your thoughts. One thought has become manifest now, next minute it will become unmanifest. Then the next thought will become manifest, and then that will become unmanifest. So this is the thought. Now look at the physical body. Physical body, cells become manifest, okay? And the cells become unmanifest when they go away. New cells come, they become manifest. So constantly, you think that there is one body, there is a constant change. This is what we call from manifest to unmanifest. Now, look at not only my body, but the bodies of every, not only human being, but the bodies of every living being. Same thing, manifest and unmanifest. Okay? Now you think that the mountain is something which is stable, but if you look at the atomic level, it's constantly rearranging itself. Okay? So then again, atoms are becoming manifest and unmanifest. Now all the different, that includes what? Not only mountains, but it includes galaxies, stars, sun, moon, and every second the sun is converting helium into hydrogen. Constantly. So helium, which was manifest, has now become unmanifest, and what has been created? Hydrogen. Okay? that hydrogen again is what? Dispensed to provide energy to this earth. Manifest, unmanifest. Okay? Then the time and space in which all these different objects exist themselves are what? Time, 1 second, which was now, is gone. Right? And then a new second has emerged. 1 minute gone, new minute has come. 1 hour gone, new hour has come. Okay? So that means the time, space, and every object within time and space undergo a constant change, which is what we call, what do we mean by change? We mean from manifestation to unmanifestation. Now, what is Atma? Is it the one which supports everything that becomes manifest and unmanifest? Itself is what? Unchanging reality. Okay? Within it, you can't say that it only supports unmanifest. Because if it only supported unmanifest, then the manifest universe, who supports? You can't say it supports only the manifest, because then what? Anything which is manifest, 1 second it will become unmanifest. So what is this Atma? It is something which is invariable in all the changing things. Okay? Things means the entire universe. Okay? Entire universe includes time, space, and every object which is known to me and unknown to me. We don't even know, in fact, how many galaxies are really there in this universe. There are things which are still scientists are discovering that we don't have any idea about. Okay? But it is true that there is a constant change, because everything, universe by definition, it means time, space, and within time, space framework, whatever is existing. And the entire time, space, and object framework that you see, the entire thing is changing all the time. And what is that reality which brings into being different objects, makes them sustain for a while, and what? Resolve after a while. So this unchanging reality is what we call Atma. Awareness is something which is independent of every object. And therefore, it is something, this is why we say it is Satyam. Satyam is that which has an independent existence. Nitya, what did we see? That which has a dependent existence. So time has dependent existence, space has dependent existence, every object has dependent existence. Awareness does not depend upon them for its existence, so it is something which is constant. Okay. Yesterday there was a play at NCPA, which is this Mahabharata, which is produced by some Japanese, so it was Kabuki theatre, and they were enacting Mahabharata. So there was one question that somebody asked to Yudhishthira, that what is the greatest wonder in this world? Okay. So the person said, the Yudhishthira answered, that the greatest wonder is that we always see people what? Going away all our life. People that we love, they go away, everybody that you see around, they all go away. But we live as though we are going to live forever. Okay? And that is something which is very interesting, because actually our nature is awareness, Atma, which actually lives forever. It never undergoes any change. This is our real nature, and somehow we want to constantly connect. We are not satisfied with this mistake that we have made about who we are. Okay? We constantly try to get rid of what? Mortality, limitation, inadequacy, lack. When actually, what is our nature? What is the nature of awareness? Limitless, immortal, unchanging, no lack, right? So that means, in fact, intuitively, we know and we are searching for it, but we don't know where and how to find it. Behind all our pursuits, this is actually what we are searching. And what we are searching, the biggest thing is that we already are what we are searching. But what is it? We are looking it in a wrong direction. The direction in which you are looking it. How are you trying to look for immortality? By prolonging the physical body. Now how long can you prolong? You are trying to what? Find this freedom from lack and inadequacy by what? Somehow retaining your individuality, which is only this much, and then saying, oh well, things, I can only do this much, I can't do more. But nobody can be satisfied with this, because you are settling for something which is so much less than what you are. Imagine that you are that awareness which is unchanging, immortal, which is the truth of time and space and truth of every object, and you have taken yourself to be one little tiny speck in the universe. What is the magnitude of air?
Because you are the whole.
Yeah, when you are the whole and you have taken yourself to be this tiny little individual and constantly trying to manipulate that little tiny individual.
Is actually the whole.
Yeah. Right? So the only way to get what you are searching for is what? Knowing this reality. It is already an accomplished fact. It is already there. So what do you need to do? Remove your ignorance. Remove your way. Okay? Avyaktaha means that awareness is the truth of what? The entire world which is coming into manifestation and becoming unmanifest. Okay? What is the second? Achintya. Now, achintya means that many times this is a very common feeling that people have when they listen to Vedanta. They say, intellectually, I understand what you are saying, but I have to experience it. Okay. What is this experience that we are talking about? Can limitlessness be captured in one experience? Think about it. No. Why? Exactly. And any experience begins now. When it begins now, it was not there for how many millennia? How many millennia it was not? Billions of years it was not. And that experience will end when? After 5 minutes maximum. Okay? And it will not be there for how long? Right? So that means that experience that we are also committed to, experience by its own nature is limited. And if you want to experience Atma, what are you trying to make it? You are making it into what? Object. Any object that you experience, this mountain I experience. So that means it's an object. The object is what? Within time and space. So the minute you are trying to objectify Atma, what are you trying to make it? Limited. It's not possible. Right? So this whole orientation towards experience will put you in a wrong track already. How then, if everything that we have understood so far is through what? using our five senses, right? What are the five senses? Eyes, which make us see the forms. Ears, which make us hear the sounds. Then smell, touch, and taste, right? So everything that we have known now, and then whatever the senses see, they report where? To the brain. This is how we know the whole world. Okay. Now, whatever, sometimes, so that is what in Sanskrit we call it pratyaksha. Everything that is known to you is what? Through pratyaksha pramana, which means direct perception. Okay. Now, Atma, do you have to use your eyes and see Atma as an object? No. Do you need to use your ears to hear Atma? No. Okay? So that means that everything else you know through using of your sense organs. Atma is the only one thing that you know without using your sense organs. Please understand. So this is where we call it what? Swataha Siddha. Swataha Siddha means it is self-evident. Self-evident means that everybody knows I am. Okay? Nobody has to say, oh, first let me see and then I will tell you whether I am or not. In fact, because you are able to see. Because you are first, then you are able to hear. You precede all the perceptions. You don't depend upon perception for your existence. Please understand that.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. So that means because you are there, you can use your eyes to see forms. Because you are there, you can use your ears to hear sounds. Because you are there, you can use your nose to smell different things. Right? You are not an object of any of them. You are what? Independent of everything. And how do you know that you exist? Everybody knows that I am without, have you ever objectified? No. Okay? So that I am is something which is self-evident to you. Okay? Now, this self-evident I, which is what we call Swataha Siddhaha. About this I, what is the nature of the problem? You have made a mistake. What have you done? You have taken the attributes of certain objects, which are body and mind, and you have imputed them on their I. Right? So now, if you were to know your true nature, what do you need to do?
Separate.
Exactly. How do you separate them? Through inquiry. Exactly. That's all you have to do. Right? This I am is something which is always present. The nature of the problem is you have made some mistake about what that nature of I is, and you are suffering from limitation which is not a legitimate limitation. So as Tushar says, the only thing that you have to do is expose yourself to the teaching which makes you see yourself what? As exactly as it is, so that you remove your false notions about what the nature of I is. I is something that you don't need an experience like an object. Please understand. This is why we say Vedanta is a cognitive pursuit. Cognitive pursuit means that the whole problem is that of ignorance, and what do? You just remove that ignorance. And this is where, as long as you think that it is something which is what you need to objectify or experience things differently. This is a very common expectation. If I know that I am limitless, then people say, okay, let me experience that vast expanse of something. Is that vast expanse, is that limitlessness that you feel when your thoughts are resolved for a while? Is it limitlessness? By limitlessness, what we are saying is that which is truth of time, truth of space, truth of every object. That is what? How do you arrive at it? Through inquiring into nature of the world and coming to know that the whole thing is mithya and awareness is the satya. Okay? So this is where, as long as you are wanting, that very orientation will keep you from what? Understanding what is the nature of Atma. Because by wanting to experience, what you are making it limited without even knowing it. Okay? Because you are making it as an object which you will experience within time and space framework. It is something which is always present. While things are changing, there is one unchanging reality which is always there with you. In Upanishad, it says the only way to know the nature of Atma is Pratibodha Vidita. It's not one given thought, it's not one given experience, it is the truth because of which all these different experiences take place. Different experiences come and go, manifest, unmanifest. The only unchanging reality because of which you can come to know all the variable experience is Atma. Yes.
As you said, intuitively when you sit in inquiry, you do get it. So then would you say that it's the fear of, what is it that keeps that distance even though you know that that is my truth?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Nini. Actually, there's a whole discussion on Karma Yoga because that's exactly the thing. We all feel after listening to this knowledge that yes, somehow I understand, but I don't quite understand, right? It's not, it eludes, still I feel that it eludes me in some ways, right? So how do you become a person who is well established in this knowledge, right? So that the whole whole next set of talks are going to be like that. Yeah, and that's a very common feeling. Even Arjuna was feeling like that. So, right. So that Advaita. But first we need to understand what is the nature of Atma. Then how to be established in this knowledge, right? So Avyakta and Avikarya. Vikara means something which undergoes modification. Every object in this world undergoes modification. What kind of modification? In Vedanta, we talk about six-fold modification. Jayate, it's born. Asti, it survives after having been born. Then Vardhate means it grows. Viparinamate undergoes changes. Then Apakshiyate begins to decline and diminish. That's six-fold vikaras any living being undergoes. Okay. Even, sorry, you want to know? Okay.
Yeah.
Jayate, vikara is modifications. So here it says avikarya. Atma is avikarya. Anything which is born undergoes six-fold changes. Jayate is born. Asti, after having been born, it survives. Then Vardhate, it grows. Then Viparinamate. Viparinamate means that constantly there are changes, metamorphosis, right? Then apakshiyate, it begins to decline. Or the decline begins by around 42, we all start wearing glasses. You immediately know the age of the person. With now makeup and all, you know, they can hide, but immediately when the person starts wearing glasses, you know this person's in 40s now. No, not, you don't want to say that, because you are limitless. That's where we want to change, right? What is, where do you put your eye? Put it in the right place. You are the board. Exactly, my eyes are aging. I'm Navratha, super. I'm the awareness because of which changing conditions of my eyes are going to me. Yeah. Yes. And the sixth one is Vinashati.
What is that?
Apakshiyate and Vinashati. Vinashati means it ends. You think that it applies only to living beings, but actually it applies to everything. The mountain that was, you have all these, they say that it's 7 continents, or how many continents? It's all just recent, right? There were some shifts in the way the earth is, right? Nothing is constant. Please don't think that things are constant. Nothing is constant. Okay? So everything is subject to vikara. Vikara is modification, the 6-fold modification. What is Atma? It is avikraya. Avikraya means while all these things are taking place, they depend upon Atma for their existence. They are not independent of Atma. Okay? But Atma is independent of them. It does not change when the forms change. Okay? How do I understand that? It's not something only with reference to Atma. In fact, all the things that are necessary for us to appreciate this reality is given to us. Is given to us. Examine the relationship between the wood and the table.
Even the cells you can say is Atma.
Everything depends upon Atma. Time depends upon Atma. Space depends upon Atma. We saw last time. We did this whole thing.
Cells is indestructible.
No. Cells are all going. Constantly going. Okay. Einstein's equation E is equal to mc squared. What does it say? It says that there is no real destruction in the universe. There is no death in the universe. It's just transformation. Transformation from energy to matter and matter to energy. This is exactly what Vedanta is saying. Constantly things are undergoing modification, but who are you? Are you something which is subject to modification? No. You are that awareness because of which everything else modifies constantly. So the cells are constantly changing. In fact, you ask any medical doctor, every medical doctor will say, it's a fact. I mean, this is not something that it's not, we don't use Vedanta, right? Every 12 years, the body will not have the cells that it had 12 years ago. That means all the cells with which you were born, none of those cells are here with you right now. None of those cells. And now, from today, 12 years from now, none of the cells that you have today will exist. This is a fact. Okay? So this is what we say, there is a constant change that is taking place. Now, if you put your eye in that thing, any given form which is changing, then what? Your eye, according to you, is subject to what? All these 6-fold vikaras. Then you said, oh my God, now I'm at this stage, but now apakshiyate is going to come. and that is going to bring fear. Vinashyati is going to come. Right? If you shift your eye to where it actually belongs, it's not the result of some positive thinking or anything, just based on realities. Then, where does your eye belong? Avyakto ayam, achintyo ayam, avikaryo ayam iti uchyate. He says, knowing this reality about Atma, na tvam shochito arhati. If you know what is your nature, where is shoka? Where is this sorrow? Where is it grief? Because what was Arjuna's problem? Grief.
It is anyway going to be destroyed at some stage.
Exactly. Right? Because not only you are worried about others, one your loved ones, but even yours. And that fear is such a basic fear. Nobody can get rid of it until one corrects this mistake. Vedanta is so essential to sane living. Okay? So this is where we say that avikaryo ayam uchyate. If you place your Atma in its right place, then where is Shuka? Where is the sorrow? That's why generally when we listen to Gita, we continue to think myself as this individual and we try not to have sorrow. So we put a lot of pressure on ourselves by saying, oh, now I should not have sorrow because sorrow is something which is bad. So that means what? Exactly. Because now you not only have sorrow but you have stress and you have fear of being sad. So you have added compounded your sorrow with fears, with anxiety, with frustration that oh, I'm listening to Gita but I'm not yet free from sorrow. So you keep on compounding your problems. Because the way Gita is taught is inadequate. Okay? What it is showing is a fact. It's not giving you an advice that oh, you should not have sorrow. That is a useless advice. Because nobody can avoid sorrows. And you feel what? Even bigger complex that I should not be sorrowful and now I still can't get rid of it. So you feel frustrated. What Gita shows is the nature of Atma, which is a very different reality from what you think you are. And if you correct this mistake about who you are, where is the place of sorrow? Knowing this reality, there is the person who is automatically free from sorrow. This very fundamental mistake that we live with, that is corrected. Okay. Natvam shochito anasi. Etam viditva. Knowing this fact about Atma, then what happens? Sorrow goes away. Because in fact, all that is in the universe is what? You. Every form depends upon you for its existence, and the forms are such that they are changing all the time. This is how it is.
So that means if you got that, if one of your so-called loved ones passes, and you should not feel the sorrow, right? Because
Okay.
so is that means you don't care or?
Okay, excellent question, Vika. Excellent. Right? Now, what this question, right, says that, okay, Atma, which is what? Awareness, okay, which is always free from any sorrow.
And also you know the truth that the person, everyone is going to go.
Everybody is going to go. But what we are talking about is that this Atma, I understand, is free from any emotion that I feel. Okay? Now, once I understand this reality about myself, That means, does it then mean that my mind will have only one type of thoughts which are happy thoughts? No. Mind is variable. Mind will change. Okay? So that means mind is such that we live in mithya, and in mithya the mind responds differently to different situations. What is my problem? My problem is that I think that the variable mind is myself. That mistake when I correct, it does not mean that the mind will become constant. The mind will change. So that means, if I'll give you a very real example. Okay. So when we were living in Bangkok, there was this one young, teenage children. Their father had gone to Europe, and he had a heart attack in India. Okay. Now the kids were totally destroyed. Okay. Now this Pandit, Gita Pandit comes and starts giving them advice. Atma is अमर है, right? वो तो रहेगा ही. अभी रोने का जरूरत नहीं है. Don't cry, right? And he says, if you cry, then what? He will be unhappy, so you stop crying. Now these kids are so frustrated because they have this sorrow. Right? Now they are given this whole big advice in the name of Gita, and what? Not expressing the sorrow that they already have. And then what? They are put with guilt. What? That if you express this sorrow, first of all, it's not appropriate. Secondly, what? The father will be very unhappy if you feel this. So you create what? Further and further complexes if you don't understand Gita properly. Okay? What we are saying is, the world is constantly changing, and different changing situations will bring about changes in your mind. This is same living. Right? You can't be totally indifferent when somebody comes and tells you that I've got a promotion. Okay? Or somebody says I've lost my job, and you can say, oh, things are variable and that is the nature of the world. No. Right? Because each situation is different, and what? The response to each situation has to be different. This is what we call sanity. But while the whole game is going on, is Atma ever being affected? That means mind changes. It has to change according to differing situations. When the situations call for what? A loss of someone very dear, will bring about some sorrow in the person. In fact, all our scriptures are doing a great job with showing you that. You see Rama, when Lakshmana was fainting, he was crying. When he lost Sita, what was happening? He was frantic. He was looking for his wife. He was like that, oh, the world is changing and I'm indifferent to it. We are not talking about indifference here, please understand. We are not talking about at the level of mind, desensitizing ourselves and say, okay, every situation is the same. This is the biggest mistake people make when they study Gita. What we are saying is, situations are different and the mind has to respond to different situations differently. This is sanity. But while the whole thing is going on, what is your understanding of yourself? Are you that changing mind? You are that awareness which is unchanging. This is a fact. It's based on facts. Doesn't mean you have to control your mind. Please understand.
That means you have to be aware that you are sorrowful or you are happy.
Exactly. You are aware and then you are able to manage it. Because there is not total identification with it as I, what happens? There is a cognitive distance. You are able to manage your emotions much better, because before your whole sense of I was where?
In that emotion.
In that emotion.
So basically it's aware living to situation.
Exactly. Doing what needs to be done. Right? Because this is where, Bhavu, you had a question?
You mentioned about Sri Ram.
Yeah.
When his mother died,
Yeah.
he started to cry.
Yeah.
And Sage Bashir says that, you are Ram and you are crying. He says, all I know is that I have lost my mother.
Excellent. Excellent. Right? So we are not talking about not having emotions. Please take it out from your mind. We are not talking about detachment. We are not talking about desirelessness. We are not talking about any of these things. This book is amazingly beautiful. Don't make it simplistic and unrealistic. So nice. This is lovely, Mama. It's so nice. Right? We say, now I am what? I only know that I have lost
What
my
I'm
mind.
feeling at that time.
Not at that time. Stay with those feelings. Don't deny them. Because the mind is such that it has to respond differently to different situations. You can't have one that will be insanity.
So I think with the knowledge and the awareness, you get back into balance faster.
Exactly.
You can bring yourself into balance faster.
Exactly.
And also to know that you don't have control over so many things.
That's when you get back to balance much faster.
Much faster. Because you have life perspective. Right? So that fundamental mistake, that distortion is undone. So you actually can feel range of emotions far more freely and manage them much better than trying to what? Avoid it and that whole chase for controlling the mind will make you crazy. Because what? Next 5 minutes from now, if I ask you, Rita, what is going to be your thought? You know. Then you want to control your mind for the rest of your life. How is it possible? You don't even know what your next thought is going to be.
It doesn't end with just
It doesn't
controlling
end. You will create a
want to
Frankenstein
control
by wanting to control the mind. You understand the nature of mind is to move. It will respond. You go along with it or you leave it alone. Don't go along with it. That is what we call buddhi. That is what we call wisdom.
When you're trying to focus on a particular, aren't you trying to control your mind in some way from other
So
perspective?
what you are trying to do is trying to understand what is being said, right? But the thing is, sometimes you even, for example, this is a very good question, right? So even when you really want to concentrate, what happens? The mind goes somewhere else, right? So now, but because you want to understand the given subject matter, what do? You gently bring it back. As simple as that. Then you say, okay, now I should not think, then what? There is a story, right? That one king, he said that before you eat, don't think of a monkey. So generally before you eat, you never think of a monkey, right? But because he was told not to think of a monkey every time he ate, he says, I'm not supposed to be thinking of one, right? So that means you create further complexes. Mind's nature is to move. If you want to bring it back, gently bring it back because you are interested in moving it to a certain level. That's lovely. That is guiding the mind, that is having some mastery over the mind. But to say that I'm never going to feel this emotion is setting yourself up for some kind of a,
terrible disease.
yeah,
No, it will create some other serious dysfunctionality in the body.
absolutely. You had something to say?
You said about not knowing what your next thought or 5 minutes later would be. Is that why, for example, mantras are given? So that people...
Excellent. Okay? When we talk about meditation, we will talk about what is meditation, why mantra, what job does it do on that.
What's the difference between mantra and japa? What is the difference in mantra and japa?
Japa is, a continuation, repetition of mantra is called japa. You take one mantra and you say that I'm going to say 108 times, for example. That is what we call japa.
So also to get rid of
Mantra
random
can be
thoughts?
any mantra.
Mantra can be any. Right?
Yeah.
You can choose the mantra that you want to do japa. What?
Then get rid of random thoughts, which is the repetition of usually.
I will teach you, I will tell you what are the different levels at which meditation works. All these verses will come. They will come. Okay. So, this then is the nature of reality about what is the nature of itself. Okay. Now, the next few verses are now, it's a complete change of subject matter where Lord Krishna is talking about Bhagavad Gita. Because imagine Arjuna listened to this whole teaching and he says, okay, now Atma is anyway indestructible, okay, and the forms are anyway going to go one day or the other. Can you use this knowledge? And then they said, okay, I'm going to shoot everyone. Anyway, Atma doesn't change and the forms are one day or the other going to go. This is what we call misuse of Gita.
Or not take any action and just.
Or you just don't take any action because anyway things are happening. So I just sit back and I relax. So this is when we say the mind receives this knowledge and what do? We distort it. We don't understand the knowledge as it is meant to be understood. We create meanings which are not there. Exactly. So this is a very, very common thing. The minute in Vedanta class you are told that the whole world is mithya, what happens? Jagat mithya. Jagat mithya means it doesn't matter now, I can do whatever I want. Is it true? No. Even though the world is mithya, what? How your decisions are taking place where? In this mithya world.
Action, reaction.
Everything is happening in this mithya world. So, how does this mithya world, first of all, how does it come about? Secondly, how does it run? Is it all just random objects flying off? No. Understand how it is all arranged and within that what? How to make decisions. That is also part of knowing the reality. Okay? So therefore, you can't misuse Vedanta and say Atma is Satyam, Jagat is all relative, it has mithya, so now what?
I have permission to do basically
Anything. Yeah, anything and everything. If that was the case, what Lord Krishna would have said, either he would have said that now just kill everyone inadvertently or what? Sit back and you don't need to do anything. What was Lord Krishna's response? Because as when I talked about introduction to Gita, what did I say? Arjuna had two questions. One is, what will, a very fundamental question about what will remove this sorrow for which I don't see any solution. I don't know whether I win the war or I don't win the war. I don't know how I can get rid of this sorrow that I feel. Okay? In answer to that question, what does Lord Krishna do? Makes him see the nature of Atma. Because unless you understand the nature of Atma, there is no solution to this sorrow, eliminating this sorrow. Then, the second question of Arjuna was what? What should I do in this situation? Right? That is a different question. Yes, the world is mithya, but in this mithya world, I constantly have to make decisions. And the results, what will accrue to me based on the nature of decisions that I have made. Okay? So that means it's again within mithya, knowing realities of how this mithya world operates and what is it which is supposed to be done by me in this world to live effectively. Okay? So this is the next topic, and what is related to this topic. Before I get into this, I will do from next class. Before I get into it, what I want to do this time is Gayatri Mantra. Okay? Because Gayatri Mantra is precisely that. Asking for help to what? Think clear. Where is my copy? You don't have for yourself? You have extra? There are extras? And okay, now before I teach you the meaning of that, oh sorry, there are more here. Anybody? Okay. Before I teach you the meaning, I will teach you how to chant this mantra. Yeah? The mantra works, do you see all these lines? Okay. Now, the line which is bhuva, this va, and there is a horizontal line below, okay? Which means there is this straight thing and you have to come down. When there is a line below, which is a horizontal line, you have to come down. It is called Anudatta. In Sanskrit, this line is called Anudatta. Anudatta. Okay. Then there is a vertical line on top. Okay. That is what we call Udatta. Udatta means that you go up. So if you're chanting like this, when Anudatta comes, you go down. When Udatta comes, you go up. And then there is, you will see the last word, Prachodayat, there are two vertical lines. Right? That is called Swarita. In that Swarita, you go that two up. So this is how you follow. And when there are no lines, you just, your right, your first. Okay? So this is how Vedic chanting is done. And you will see, if you follow this, it will create the whole atmosphere which is the power is chants have. Very, very.
Why is it only at sunset?
No, it is 3 times every sunrise, sunrise, midday, and sunset. Okay. Then why that you will see in the music itself. Okay. So I will do each part and you follow after me. And be careful about, be alert about the swaras. Om Bhuvassuvaha. Om Bhuvassuvaha. Voice down and last voice up. Okay. Om Bhuvassuvaha. Om Bhuvassuvaha. Tatsaviturvarenyam. 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 Bhargo devasya dhimahi. Bhargo devasya dhimahi. Diyo yo nah prachodayata. Diyo yo nah prachodayata. Om Bhuvassuvaha. Om Bhuvassuvaha. Tatsaviturvarenyam. Tatsaviturvarenyam. Bhargo devasya dhimahi. Bhargo devasya dhimahi. Diyo yo nah prachodayata. Diyo yo nah prachodayata. Om Bhuvassuvaha. Om Bhuvassuvaha. Tatsaviturvarenyam. Tatsaviturvarenyam. small note, this naha prachodayat, there is this little sandhi rule in pronunciation that when you, oh my God, sorry. Okay. Yeah, there is a certain rule, naha prachodayat, so that it becomes like the yo naf prachod. It's little bit, little soft for sound. What happens is when people don't, there is a visarga after nakara, okay, naha prachodayat. So that means our buddhis, let them be lighted. Okay? When you don't pronounce this visarga, you say na prachodayat. What does it mean? Don't light our buddhis. Please understand, we keep on repeating that. So it's very important to do proper first understand the meaning, and secondly to follow these rules because the meaning changes. Visarga. Naha means our buddhi, right? And when you say na, it means negative article, not for.
You add the first sandwich.
Sorry? You add the first sandwich if you want to be absolutely perfect.
It's like a form without the form.
Yeah, exactly. That's a kind of a Sandhi rule which requires you to say that. Right? That is like absolute precision. Okay? If you don't want to be so particular about the precision, at least say naha prachodaya. Don't say na prachodaya because that will change the meaning. Right? That's a small note. Now, we will chant it 7 times together, then I'll explain. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Bhurvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Gayatri mantra is a prayer. Okay? Now, when you begin to pray, you need to have clarity about who are you praying to. Okay? Because you need to understand what is the nature of this Ishvara. Ishvara is Bhagavan, or the cause of the universe that you are addressing. Okay? Why is it important to understand the nature of the cause of the universe? Because imagine if you think that the cause of the universe is some entity out there, sitting somewhere far away from me, and that entity has all power to do whatever that person, that entity can do, and you are helplessly praying to that person, right? And he has all the power to give you whatever he wants, right? And then he does always once prayer can answer. No. Right? So that means he has power, but he's still not answering the prayer. So what kind of a God is this? Right? So that means,
Not in my team.
huh?
Not in my team.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not in my team, he's against me, right? Or he's upset with me, he's angry with me, he doesn't look at me favorably. So these are all the problems that exist when we don't understand the nature of Ishvara. So that means if you want to pray to Ishvara and have real, proper attitude and mind, you need to understand Ishvara not as just one entity, but in keeping with what really is Ishvara. Okay. So the first word, Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha. Okay. That Ishvara, where is it? It's not exactly. That Ishvara is not some individual sitting somewhere away from me. It is all over the world, as Rajiv says. What does it mean all over the world? Bhuhu. Where is Bhuhu? On this earth. Ishvara pervades the earth. Bhuvaha and Suvaha. Suvaha means all the heavens. All these entities, heavenly entities that are there, that can include what? Yeah, exactly. Everything. Please understand, it includes, it pervades everything. Okay? And what is between earth and all these heavenly entities? In between?
Space.
Yeah, exactly. So it pervades everything, means everything. What is on this earth? All the planets, stars, galaxies, black holes, everything, right? And whatever is in between. How will you understand Ishvara as pervading everything? Okay? Now, whatever we have studied so far, it will help you to understand this nature of Ishvara is a big topic. It will come in the subsequent verses of Gita. I will not go in detail. Those verses will talk about the nature of Ishvara in detail. Here I will give you, I will connect whatever you have heard so far with what is Ishvara, briefly. Okay? What we have seen so far is this whole world is what mithya, it is forms within forms. And ultimately, what did we come to? If you look at the physics model, where do we come to? Particles, subparticles, quarks, and things like that. Right? So now we are saying that yes, everything is nothing but atoms and particles, but what has arranged those atoms and particles in a way that sometimes it becomes human body, sometimes it becomes bird, sometimes it becomes a fish, sometimes it becomes what? Mosquito, amoeba, bacteria, right? Sometimes it becomes what? Mountains, rivers, air, planets, right? And placing all those different things but with precision, which is an amazing precision. Okay? So that means it's not just atoms and particles, there is what we call the intelligence which makes those particles, what arranges those particles in a very precise forms, which not only the forms do their function, but it connects one form with the other form through what? Series of laws. This is what we call Sarvajnaha Sarva Shaktiman Ishvara. Sarvajnaha means that intelligence which connects everything in this universe, which has the knowledge and power. Where will you search for this knowledge and power? Right now, your eyes are seeing. Have you sat and created the eyes? You don't even know what all is there in your eyes. You have to go and see a doctor to even figure out what's happening in your eyes. And the doctor who has studied medicine for 10 years, does he or she know the eyes totally? But the eye is already made. How much knowledge is there? How much knowledge has gone into making this little eye? Tell me. Immense knowledge. Now this eye is not just this eye which is made to perfection, but it then what? Connects with the brain. Who has made, have you sat and done all these connections? You don't even know what is the intricate connections that are there in your body right now. Right now, you have billions of cells in your body who are all coordinating with each other so that I can speak, I can see, I can hear sounds. All my digestive system is running, my circulatory system is running. It's all being arranged. There is a very fundamental intelligence behind it all. Okay? And that intelligence not only makes human body what it is, it makes what? The eye of a dog has a different programming. Sees different things. Smell, sense of smell is very different. This is why you have what? Dogs. Yeah, exactly. Sniffing dogs. They can figure out many things. Okay? So that means there is this whole intelligence behind what we are trying to, when we go to study physics, okay, I mean up to very long time, it was only Newton who discovered what? Laws of gravity. But before Newton discovered laws of gravity, the apples were falling or not? They were falling. The laws of gravity were operating or not? Already operating. And operating to the precision that is what? That if this is the speed and this is the height, this long it will take to reach the ground. Yeah. But and if you go outside the Earth's atmosphere, then the gravity will move differently. All this is already done. Okay. So this is what we talk about, that intelligence. Don't search for that intelligence sitting somewhere else. Where is that intelligence? Right here. My neurons, making my neurons tick with each other so that I can understand things. Making my cells operate in a way that it can, they are coordinating, billions of cells are coordinating to make multiple functions happen. Okay? So this is the intelligence that we are talking about. That intelligence is alive. It is in and through every form. Ishvara is what we call what? All pervasive. It is making everything in this universe what it is. Guha, Guvaha and Suva. Okay. Now, what happens is that intelligence which is pervading everything, how much do I bring the awareness of that intelligence in my living? When I interact with the universe, what is my understanding of the universe? I make statements like what? Goodness doesn't exist. I make things, I feel like I'm a victim. That means world is inimical to me. I totally what? Disregard the presence of that intelligence in my living. So now, how do I bring in that understanding of the presence of that intelligence? I choose one symbol every day. What is that symbol? The symbol here, the prayer is to Lord Sun. Right? The sun which is there. Either I can think about sun as what? Just hydrogen atoms, or what can I see? The intelligence which is manifesting in form of this sun to what? Give me my life. How many different functions this sun performs in our life? What? Its presence first makes our life possible, because if it was just a few inches away from the earth, what? It will be too cold for human forms or any form to survive. If it was a little closer, what would happen? Then it will burn. So the precise distance, right? And in fact, right now, the galaxies are all just moving at a very fast rate, but the distance between the sun and earth remains what? Constant. How many calculations are required for this to happen? It's mind-boggling. Okay. So this is where we say that this sun, which is behind this sun, is that intelligence. Who you are praying to is not hydrogen atoms. Please understand. What you are seeing something much more than what eyes can read. So that means that Sarvagnaha, Sarvashaktiman, Ishvara, which is all pervasive, you what invoke in that sun, okay, which is making your life. It is one of the manifestations where you can appreciate the intelligence. Then what else does the sun do? All the food that you eat every day, if you eat plant food, plant-based food, what are you eating actually? The plants, where do they get, you think that they give you this vitamin and they give you this and this, where does it come from? The sun, right? The plants, there is a system where the plants sitting here, they derive all their energy from the sun through this whole thing of photosynthesis. And each one does it, and each one gives you what? Different element for your different part to nourish different parts of your body. So this is what the sun does. Then what? The plants need water to survive. What does the sun do? The rain. The ocean water is evaporated in form of clouds. And the clouds at the right time what bring about yeah. This is at work. Some can say, oh, I want to just now stop. Today I don't want to act. Incessantly. The universe is at work, and it is a blessing to you. You can't all-pervading Ishvara, which is directly what so benevolent to me, I pray. Okay? So it is Varenyam, okay? And it is something which is going to bless me. It is one of the devas, it is one of the manifestations. This is not only Ishvara. Ishvara is all-pervading. Okay? And what am I asking? Not only I am offering my salutations and thanking the sun for all the job that it does. Okay? What? Then I recognize the presence of Ishvara, which is already there, already making the universe the way it is. What difference does it make to my psyche? It removes your ignorance. It does three very fundamental things. One is we live our life with a sense of isolation. What is a sense of isolation? I feel that I am one entity and everything else is what? External to me. Okay? And the whole life goes in what? Protecting my self-interest against what? The world. The whole world. Manipulating the whole world to suit my liking. So that means there is a sense of separation, isolation. Now, how do I see the whole world? As manifestation of that intelligence, Ishvara. Ishvara as one entity contains what? It makes my form what it is, it makes your form what it is, it makes the sun what it is, it makes our lives connected through the sun the way it is connected. It is making our lives connected to the plants, it is making our lives connected to the waters, it is connecting every force and beings together as one entity. So from isolation, what is my whole vision? Connection. I am part of one grand scheme of things where each part is connected to the other. This is a fact. When you change from this isolation to connection, where a lot of our psychological problems go away, of this, feeling frightened, this our teacher used to say ninja attitude, where you're always what? Trying to protect yourself in the world against the world. You have this whole sense of belonging. Okay? Like a whale who thinks that I'm one little entity, then and the entire thing is away, then what happens? It's so small. But if the same wave sees that there is one ocean and every wave is part of that ocean, there's a sense of belonging. There is one entity, right, of which we are all part. So from isolation to connection. Very deep psyche. We are not talking about just simple things here. The second thing is, from generally we live our life with what? The sense of lack, inadequacy. Okay? With this sense of lack and inadequacy, what is our attitude? Wanting. You're always dissatisfied and wanting. From there, where do you shift your attention to? All the different forces which are at work all the time to make my life possible. Gratitude. From this lack, you change it to what? Gratitude. The gratitude is born out of understanding of how the universe already works. It's not some cultivated, oh, I have to be like this and I have to be like that. From lack to gratitude, when That is the second thing. And the third thing, when you feel that you are lacking things, what is your focus? Consume. You take more and you take more, you grab more, because you can't stand your back. Okay? So then you change from being a consumer. When you have gratitude, you have certain sense of fullness. Okay? What do? You change exactly from being a consumer to being a contributor. 3 very important changes at a very fundamental level of your psyche. From isolation to connection, from lack to gratitude, from grabbing and consuming to contribution. This is all by bringing in the right understanding of Ishvara in your life. Ishvara is there. If you miss Ishvara in your life, this is the consequence.
I think after gratitude is fulfillment also. Because people always, when you talk of sharing, people always think it's monetary, or if you have extra money, you can share it. No? I mean, even a person who doesn't have money can be fulfilled. So it's not always sharing of that.
Excellent.
I always have people thinking that sharing means if you have a lot of, because even if you don't have it, you could be fulfilled. So
excellent. This is so true. Sometimes, what is this whole new civilization I see, nobody has time for anybody, right? You spend 15 minutes talking to somebody, looking into the eyes without being distracted by your mobile and without your this. I tell you that it's so good for that other person's side. When you feel you are with that person. We are so distracted trying to multitask everything, our attention is nowhere.
no, because people think by giving that money,
Exactly.
they share,
So
so
that
they
means
absorb
by sharing your time, your attention, you are giving a lot. Right? You show somebody that you care. You explicitly communicate. This is giving. Right? Giving, as Rita says, is not only about money. Very subtle things you do for somebody and the person remembers for life. Sometimes we do such simple things and people come to us after 15 years and say, oh my God, I feel so good. It's like so insignificant in my vision, but it has made such a difference in life of somebody. So change this attitude. This is so true. We think we associate giving with only money. That may be one part, but it is not the only thing.
Vinny wants to share something.
Yes, please. Please.
It's like a child.
Okay, it's about you tell what with
She says it also creates humility.
humility.
It does.
It does. How does it create humility? Tell me.
Because you actually, if you use it symbolically, when you look at the sun and it's, what it's doing to the entire universe, planet, it's so huge. But if you actually dive into that concept and you feel that it's not standing there every morning and saying, hello, look at me. It's just giving, isn't it?
Lovely.
So it's in the same lessons.
So that means any giving that comes out of you is with the same thing of humble, right? That you are humble. And humility, because so much you are receiving, whatever in fact, universe is set up in a way that you will always receive a lot more than what you can give.
And hence should always
And
remain
hence,
humble.
anything that you can give, in whichever way, is never going to match with what you get. Then you already automatically have humility. It's again based on realities. It's not, oh, I have to be humble. See, we create rules without understanding how things are. When we understand how things are, then we naturally become humble. Okay. So this is what? This is bringing in the understanding of Ishvara brings about so many other humility. Okay? There's subtlety that I can give so many things in so many simple ways. Okay? All this is a very big change in your psyche, and it percolates everything. Every situation you will see differently if you really bring in this understanding. Our teacher used to say, sorry, I'm kind of going on now.
Please do. Please continue.
What time you have to do?
I have to get to work.
Great, you have to go. Okay. Should I finish in 5
Yeah,
minutes?
yeah.
Will you give me 5 minutes?
Take it.
Take your
Now please don't stop us here.
Okay.
great cut is happening.
Our teacher used to say exactly what you're saying, right? Let's say somebody comes to you and asks for help. Okay? So generally what happens is, before you actually listen to the person with total attention, you're already creating an answer as to like how to get out of this. Yeah? Especially if it's a financial help, you'll be like, now how can I be polite and how can I get out of it? Right? So you're not even actually listening to the person. He says, actually, just the fact that you listen to the person itself is a big thing. Okay? Without already trying to come up with an answer. Right? Having done that, generally what happens is, we justify. We say, okay, if I help this person, then there are how many people in need? So many people in need. Do I have the resources to help everyone? No. Okay. So therefore, I can't help everyone, so then this person also what? No. Who says that you have to help everyone? Okay. This person is right now in front of you. You have to make a decision about this person without worrying about hypothetical everyone. Okay. Try to understand what the person needs. Okay. See, and also one has to be judicious, right? Whether the demands that the person is making is genuine, not genuine, assess it, right? And not like, yeah, you just have to blindly start giving everyone. Use your capacity to think adequately. See if you can give something and how much according to your capacity, if you can. Okay. So whatever you can, under whatever circumstances, whatever, try to see what you can do rather than how to get out of the situation. Okay. Sometimes you can give, sometimes you may not be able to give. That also is a possibility. Don't put all these pressure on yourself saying that. Just very fact, as Rita says, that just listening to the person and being with that person itself is sometimes very, very important. Then he says, even if you can't give anything, okay, do one thing. And what is that one thing?
Give the blessings of prayer.
What?
Blessings of prayer.
Excellent. Excellent thought. He says you pray for the well-being of this person. At least that much you can do. That means by praying, what are you doing? You are making yourself sensitive to the pains of others. You are not indifferent to people. You are changing your psyche in a very fundamental way. You are becoming proactive. You're active, sensitive, caring, compassionate human being. Prayers.
There's actually one prayer which I do in these cases, like I'll share that with you.
Lovely. What is the prayer?
That person is safe, secure, and divinely protected. And money and knowledge comes to that person freely and safely. That individual is in perfect health from body, mind, and spirit. That person or that individual is extremely happy. And finally, that individual is very grateful to the divine for everything.
Please pray for me.
So now you have a job to pay for everyone. Lovely. Right? So this prayer, imagine, generally what happens is, we constantly compare ourselves with each other. And when somebody is more accomplished in our eyes, what happens? They are jealous. So that means we are so insecure when we see people excelling, when we see people successful. How will you change that psyche? By actually praying. Praying means what? You are showing your sensitivity. You care for not only your well-being, you care for what everybody else's well-being. Because the world is designed in a way that others' well-being is also your well-being. You can't be well unless people around you are well. It's a very significant shift. You actually actively pray for well-being of others rather than being jealous by what? Well-being of somebody else. Very simple but very profound changes to bring about inner revolution. Simple things.
This is what the Buddhists do, no? They always pray for the ending.
Pray
For someone who's living in the most trouble. When they pray for their well-being, because they feel they are connected. The Buddhists always have a prayer in that way.
She's so she's amazing. I know.
Michelle?
The whole family is like what an amazing thing. Okay, so this is the difference. You want to sit here? Is it uncomfortable? Okay, now to this Ishvara, what are you asking for? Let our mind, naha dhiyaha. Dhiyaha means mind, and whose mind? Ours. Right? Because many times people ask this question, I am changing, but I have to live with so many other people in this world. If they are not changing, then what happens? It's not easy, right? Because you constantly have to account for that other person's behavior too. Okay? So you pray for not only your clarity, you pray for what? Everybody's clarity. Naha Viyaha Prachodayat. Light up our minds so that what? We can make proper decisions. We can see things clearly. Okay? Because the sun, in addition to providing all these functions that I told you, is also what? Symbol of light. The light which removes what?
Ignorance.
Ignorance. Darkness of ignorance, confusion, small-mindedness, selfishness. Okay? So you are asking the Lord Sun that just as you are bright and you are benevolent, let our mind be what? Bright, clear, benevolent. Let my mind, and not only my mind, but everybody's mind, what? Be guided by the truth. This is the prayer that you look at the sun every day and do 3 times a day. Imagine how your day with awareness of what you're doing. Because life is nothing but a series of decisions. Whoever you are today is a function of all the different decisions that you have made. Okay? And every decision is made when there are a lot of grays. It's not just black and white. The situations are complex. There are many variables that are involved and there are many unknown variables. But unknown variables doesn't mean that you continue to do research to find all the answers. You have to make many decisions while things are still unknown to you. So you need help. You need help from that intelligence to what? Guide your mind in the right direction. The intelligence is Ishvara, which is pervading everything, is also pervading here. Okay? Ask for that help from that intelligence to guide your mind in appropriate direction. Because a lot of time we operate from a lot of what? Either confusion, ignorance,
Preconceived notions.
self-centeredness, partial understanding of things, wrong attitudes, conditioning, and our whole decision making is clouded by all of this. You can try, but you also need help. This is intelligent living. You become aware of all these limitations, you do whatever you can, right, to educate yourself, expose yourself to wisdom like Bhagavad Gita, which will enable you to make proper decisions, see things in proper perspective. That's your job. You have to do that. Help yourself. But plus, you have to ask for it. From where? From where? Ishvara, which is manifesting in form of the sun. Okay. This is generally, you can chant Surya, our teacher told Surya to chant 24 times because there are, I think, 24 syllables. So then I think there is some calculation. But whatever you can chant, please chant. And try to follow this for us if you can. Okay?
3 times.
So we'll end the class by chanting the mantra once. Yeah. 64, 108, you can chant whatever, but minimum if you can chant 24 times, it is good. If you can't, then 11 times is also great.
So 8 at sunrise, 8 at midday.
Lovely, lovely. 24, if you can. Okay, so, Om Bhurvasvaha